Welcome to FEI Campus. Special greetings to our friends from the jumping discipline. Today I will take you through the major modifications to the jumping rules for 2019. If you would like to consult the markup version of the rules to see all changes that were made, clarifications, editorial changes, etc., these can be found on the rules page of our website in the markup version of the jumping rules. I will start with a modification that concerns three different articles, Article 203, 224, and 235. And this deals with the procedure to be followed in case of a fall of an athlete and/or horse. The first one is in Article 203.1.2, and it concerns the bell. And that is to say, in case of a fall of the athlete or horse at any time from the time they enter the arena up until the time the bell is rung, the ground jury, the judge must ring the bell to signal to the athlete that he may not continue, he may not remount, even though he has not yet started the competition. He may not remount and continue in the competition for one very good reason, and that is for the reason described in Article 224.3, which deals with falls, and which states that in case of a fall of an athlete and or horse at any time, in the competition arena, the practice arena, or elsewhere on the grounds of the event, the athlete and or the horse must be cleared by the event's medical service or by the FEI veterinary delegate before they can be allowed to take part in further competition at the event. And this is simply for the reason of safety of athlete and horse. This must come first. And the last article that is concerned by the rules relating to falls is Article 235, which is the article dealing with faults, and particularly in paragraphs 3 and 4, which deal with in case of a fall before the starting line or a fall after the starting line. So in 235.3, in case of a fall before the starting line, the combination is not eliminated, but they may not start in the competition until they have been cleared by the event's medical service or the veterinary delegate if it's the horse that fell. And they will be listed as did not start instead of eliminated, retired, or withdrawn, because in fact they did not start the competition. The next case concerns falls after crossing the finish line, and these are outlined in Article 235.4. There are three paragraphs concerned, 4.1, 4.2, and 4.3. As the wording is quite intricate and involved, rather than reading the rule to you now, I urge you to consult the markup version of the rules on the website, where it is clearly explained what the procedure is to be followed in case of a fall after the finish line. The bottom line is the athlete is not eliminated if the fall occurred after the finish line, and before the combination can be allowed to compete further, for example, in the jump-off if it takes place after the competition, or in the second round if it's a two-round competition, or in the next competition if there is no jump-off. The athlete and or horse has to be checked and cleared by the medical service or the veterinary delegate before they can be allowed to continue. The remaining changes I will go through in chronological order so that you can follow along if you're looking at your version of the jumping rules at the same time. We go back to Article 208, which has to do with obstacles, and the clarification added to 208.4, which was simply the words cannot exceed were deleted, and instead the wording was added that for two-star events in which the schedule indicates a height of 1.45 meters, the height of obstacles in the competition may, at the discretion of the course designer, exceed the height indicated in the schedule by maximum 3 centimeters. And this is due to the changes that were made to Jumping Rules 208.7 last year, just to deal with minor variations in the terrain or in the obstacle material. It's just made it clear that this applies also at CSI two-star events. The next change is Article 211, the water jump. Paragraph 13 was added to simply clarify how many times the water jump may be used in jumping championships and games. And it is self-evident. It is minimum 2 times and maximum 3 times that the water jump may be used in the official competitions of the games and championships. The next change is a clarification to the time penalty for an obstacle knockdown in indoor speed competitions. This is Article 239.2. The 2-second penalty for indoor competitions may only be applied if at least 50% of the obstacles on the course have a height of 1.50 meters. If there are fewer than 50% of obstacles at 1.50 meters, the 3 or 4 second penalty must be applied. The reason for this is horse welfare. The clarification has been added to ensure that the course is a true 1.50 meter course, so that athletes will not put their horses at risk by riding too fast to make up the 2 seconds. The next changes are to Article 241, elimination, paragraphs 1, 21, and 27. 241.1 states that elimination can also be retroactive. This is just a clarification that has been added in case, for example, if blood is found on the horse's flank at the boot and bandage control after the competition. The elimination is therefore retroactive because the combination has already completed the competition. In 241.21, provision has been added that the standard penalty for non-compliance with the rules relating to saddlery and equipment is elimination. The reason for this is the harmonization of the penalty for not respecting the rules on saddlery. However, it should be noted that elimination is the standard penalty, and the ground jury always has the possibility to impose additional sanctions as per Article 243 in cases of horse abuse due to an item of saddlery, or, for example, if the boots have solid blocks under the lining, as described in the steward's manual, this is a cause for disqualification in any case, not just elimination. Article 241.27 concerns just a small clarification about jumping an obstacle in the arena after the completion of a round. If the circumstances rendered it impossible for the athlete-horse combination to avoid jumping the last obstacle, for example, in a competition with an immediate jump-off or in a two-phase competition, if the bell is rung too late for the athlete to safely pull up before the obstacle. And this is for obvious reasons, for safety of the athlete and horse. Article 257 are the rules on saddlery, and paragraph 2.5 has been added, a new paragraph which describes the type of boots that are allowed now, hind boots for pony riders, children, amateur owners, and veterans categories. The description is included in Article 257.2.5, and additional photographs of examples of boots and fasteners allowed are included in the Jumping Steward's Manual. This is published on the website under the officials page under the Steward's Manual. The next changes are to Article 259, officials. 259.1 is concerning the ground jury, and the chart that indicates the composition of the ground jury has been rearranged for more clarity, and the minimum requirements have been updated according to the needs of the various levels of events. The main changes are that an additional member has been added to the ground jury due to the need for a liaising judge for the boot and bandage control. And in addition, at all events, the organizing committee must provide a secretary to the ground jury for all competitions taking place at the event. And the reason for this is because it is not realistic to require a ground jury member to act as secretary, as this limits the number of judges available for other tasks, such as supervising the warm-up arena or any other area that the president of the ground jury deems necessary. If a ground jury member is not assigned to another task during any given competition, he or she may, of course, perform the duties of the secretary. But the secretary is a voluntary position and is therefore, it is not required that the organizing committee pay the per diem for the secretary. Paragraph 6.2, Article 259.6.2 concerns the foreign steward. And in addition to appointing a foreign steward to all five-star events, which was already the case, the FEI will now also appoint a foreign steward for all events of tours, regardless of the star level of the event. And the foreign steward appointment is in addition to the appointment of the chief steward and the assistant stewards. And this is simply because OCs of tours generally appoint the same stewarding teams, and this is a matter of convenience, and the appointment of a foreign steward in addition ensures that there is some rotation among the officials. The next change is to Article 261, paragraph 4, qualification for the Grand Prix. We have simply added a list of Table A competitions that may count, in which the horse can earn the minimum eligibility requirements for horses taking part in the Grand Prix. The clarification is self-explanatory. Article 274, two-phase competitions, has been restructured to differentiate between normal two-phase competitions and special two-phase competitions. Special two-phase competitions were previously included as Article 274.1.5.6, but they are now in a separate paragraph under Article 274.2, and the normal two-phase competitions are in 274.1.5. The changes are clearly explained and can be found in the markup version on the website. The modifications to Article 276, competitions with winning round, clarification has been added, the same clarification that was added last year to two-round competitions, Article 273, were added to Article 276 because it is just logical that the same option should be available to the organizer for the number of athletes returning for the winning round as for two-round competitions. The changes to the annexes, the main changes are in just several annexes, the first of which is Annex 6, CSI requirements. We have included clarification as to when horses can compete in national and international competitions at the same event. If the national event ends at the latest 1 hour before the start of the horse inspection of the international event, the horses may take part in both. If the national event ends later than 1 hour before the start of the horse inspection of the international event, horses may not take part in the national and international competitions at the same show. And if the national event includes competitions on the day after the international event ends, then horses having competed in the international event may take part in the national competitions on that day only, that is, following the conclusion of the international event. The reason for these clarifications is that as a matter of principle, horses may not participate in national and international events if they overlap, as this would lead to horses competing at one stage under national rules and another stage under international rules, which is just a recipe for confusion and as to which rules apply at any given moment. So that is why the clarification has been added. The next change to Annex 6 deals with the minimum prize money requirements for the Grand Prix at 3-, 4-, and 5-star events. And the reason for this change was because the Grand Prix should be considered the most important individual competition at an event, and therefore the prize money should reflect that. At 3-star events, the Grand Prix must offer prize money at least according to the minimum required for Longines ranking point group C, which is 60,000 Swiss francs. The Grand Prix at 4-star events must offer minimum prize money required for Longines ranking point group B, which is 112,500 Swiss francs. And the Grand Prix at 5-star events must offer the prize money at least according to the minimum required for Longines ranking point group A, which is 175,000 Swiss francs. The currency equivalencies for Swiss francs can be found in the rules for the Longines ranking, which are also published on the rules page of our website under jumping. Just an additional clarification, as the World Cup competition is considered a Grand Prix, the prize money requirements apply to the World Cup competition. If a World Cup event has a Grand Prix in addition to the World Cup, the prize money requirements apply only to the World Cup competition. The last modification in Annex 6 deals with the distribution of prize money in competitions with more than 100 starters, and the cutoff point at which the organizer must split the competition and double the prize money. As the rule is quite complex, I urge you to consult the markup version of the jumping rules on the website, But the bottom line is if there are up to 10 additional starters, that is to say, if there are between 101 and 110 declared starters, the competition does not have to be split, but the organizer must provide 33% additional prize money to the original competition. That is to say, the total will be 133% of the original competition, and the prize money is to be distributed among the 16 best placed athletes in the competition, instead of the best 12 as per the standard prize money distribution. If there are between 111 and 120 declared starters, the competition does not have to be split, but the organizer must provide 66% additional prize money, which means 166% of the original, and this is to be distributed among the 20 best placed athletes in the competition. And lastly, if there are more than 120 declared starters, the competition must be split into two, and the same amount of prize money as was foreseen for the original competition must be provided for both competitions. If by chance there are more than 200 starters in the competition, the competition must be split into three groups, and the organizer will provide the relevant percentages of prize money as indicated in the previous examples of 110 or 120 starters. We next go to Annex 8, which are requirements for earning certificates of capability for championships and games, paragraph 8. We have added additional requirements to the technical specifications for courses of special qualifying competitions for fulfilling the minimum eligibility requirements for earning a certificate of capability for championships and games. The modifications are very clear. The reason that these additional specifications were added is that a certain degree of consistency in the technical level must be ensured at these special qualifying competitions. Moving on to the special rules for different age categories. Annex 9 are the rules for U25, young rider, and juniors. And here we have added modifications to the way the regional and continental championships are set up. These have been modified due to the difference in the number of nations taking part in championships in Europe and on other continents. Therefore, we have separated everywhere with regard to declaration of teams, starting order in the teams, and team classification. In each case, we have divided the previous existing rule into two different paragraphs, one for championships in Europe and one for championships, continental regional championships outside of Europe. So these are very clear in paragraphs 14, 16, and 18 of Annex 9. The same modifications have been added to the children's rules, which are in Annex 12. And rather than going through those again, I will simply refer to the articles concerned in the children's rules, Annex 12, Articles 20, 22, and 24. The rules in Annex 11, rules for pony riders, the rules on saddlery have been updated in alignment with the senior rules. This is simply due to the fact that in the old days, there was a separate rule book for the various age categories. Pony riders and children had a separate age book. And in those rules, reference was made to the senior rules. And in the meantime, additional clarifications have been added to types of bits and nosebands and other things particular to the pony riders. And to make it simpler and clearer, we have simply aligned the rules, added the same rules as appear under the senior rules so that it's very clear what applies. And the same applies to, again, the children's rules in Annex 12, Article 18. The senior rules apply except where otherwise specified. For example, for children, they are allowed to use a standing martingale, whereas no other categories are. This brings us to the end of my presentation. Before signing off, I would like to remind you that horse welfare is our top priority. The horse is our partner, and it is our pleasure and our duty to look after its welfare. I would also like to encourage you to visit the FEI Campus Horsemanship portal frequently. because this is continually being updated with new information and courses. Also, just for fun, I encourage you to take the quiz, which can be found on the Jumping Hub of FEI Campus. And lastly, I would like to thank you for watching this presentation.